Welcome to Backstage with Becca B with special guest Zoe Brooke Reed. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, this Los Angeles native made her national tour debut in Waitress, where she was in the ensemble and understudied Dawn. She went on to tour with the Prom, where she played Shelby and understudied both Alyssa and Emma. And she is currently on the national tour of Back to the Future, where she's in the ensemble and understudies Jennifer Parker. Please welcome Zoe Brooke Reed. How are you? First
Good.
of
How are
all,
you? I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm in my hometown right now, so I've just been staying at home while we're performing, which is great. But yeah, I'm
yeah,
doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. So I was when Emily contacted me and was like asking like who I wanted to reach out to from the team, I was like, well, I think I've seen you in multiple shows
Oh,
throughout
no way.
because you've been on multiple tours throughout the years that I've
Mhm.
seen,
Oh my
Waitress and
gosh.
the Prom. And I definitely saw you in the Prom, which
Oh,
is
wow. No
yeah,
way. That's crazy. That's so
so
wild.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for reaching out. I feel honored. I'm happy to
Of
be here.
of course. I'm so excited to talk with you. It's been an exciting past couple of years for you, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
career-wise. So before I like kind of dive into
Mhm.
your career, which the resume you've built up, as I mentioned, insane, have
Oh,
you
thank you.
always known you wanted to be a theater performer?
I as I was growing up, I had friends that did community theater and stuff, and I did a couple of like school productions. But then when I was, I think about like 11, I got into my first like community theater play. And um, I just, I think from then on, I was like, oh, this is like the funnest thing I've ever done. I used to play sports when I was a kid too, and I just decided like I wanted to dedicate all my time to that. And I made my greatest friends doing theater. And I think at around age like 14 or 15 was when I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do in life, career wise. And yeah, without knowing it, I think it just kind of the bug bit me, you know?
Was there a person in your life who made you realize that it was possible to do this as a career?
Let me think a particular person. I saw when I was, how old was I? Maybe like 12, I think. I saw Patina Miller in Pippin as leading player. And I was like in the second row. I think we won lottery tickets or something. Like it was some last minute type of thing. And I was right up front. And I don't think I even knew what was happening. I was so young. And I was just in awe of her and couldn't even believe like someone could do that on stage. I absolutely loved it. I went like stage door right after. And I was like, oh, I want to be like her. I want to do this. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like you have a new number one fan.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, the awe, like your first time seeing a show is just
Mhm.
like I feel like unforgettable. Even if you're young, it's in the back of your mind somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely stuck with me forever. So, yeah.
Can I ask what was the first show you were ever in?
The first show I was ever in, I think when I was in like third grade, I did a Broadway like review type thing, and we did a mini Wizard of Oz. And I was Glinda. I did that in like third grade. My first community theater, like my first play, I did. Have you seen the movie The Never-Ending Story? Ever?
I
It's really old.
haven't. I need to look this up now.
Yes. Okay. It's a really old movie and it's about a kid who reads a book and like goes into the world of the book. And it's a play. And I did it when it was like my first real show, like I auditioned for and did when I was 11 at my community theater.
I
Mhm.
can't believe I've never heard of that because like
It,
that sounds like it would have been my jam as a kid.
yeah, I loved it when I was a kid, but it's very niche.
Oh my, no, I love it. I love that stuff.
Mhm.
Anything that's like, oh yeah, this has been done a couple times before. I'm like, love it. Love it.
Mhm. Right.
And I love the Glinda mention because I just saw Wicked last night.
I just saw Wicked 2 days ago. I need days to digest it. It was so incredible. I was crying. I need to see it 10 more times.
Did the whole cast go together?
A lot of us went, yeah, after
Because
the show.
I saw Kaden post about it too on Wednesday.
Oh
So
yeah,
okay.
a lot of us went on Wednesday. It was so good. We were all crying.
Oh, that's so fun. A
Yeah.
little group field trip.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, growing up, how did you work on becoming a well-rounded performer who can like do it all? Because that's what like you do it all in every show you've been in.
Thank you. I started taking voice lessons when I was young first, and I was just very fortunate to be able to be put into dance classes. And I joined an improv acting group when I was a kid with a few of my best friends. And I had such great teachers. I think I started dedicating basically all of my after school time to dance classes, voice lessons, and I just listened to theater music nonstop, would sing constantly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started doing that. I went to summer camps when I was a kid and trained. And then when I got to be around like a teenager, I started taking it more seriously and I was in class constantly.
Yes. What came easiest for you and what was like the I'm like I worked a little
Mhm.
bit more on this, but I'm like so happy because it's paid
Yeah.
off.
I started singing first, like I said. So I think I had the most time to grow with that. I didn't start really taking dance classes until I was in I took lessons when I was younger, but not like maybe like once a week or that kind of thing. I think I started getting into dance. I took like dance privates when I was like 14, 15 is kind of when I got into that. So it took me I think longer to find myself in like the dance world and the styles I liked and what worked for me. And definitely, I think dance was the hardest for me. But
Oh my gosh. That makes my jaw drop because for anyone, if they go look at your resume right now, the shows you've been in have some of the most difficult choreography I think I've seen on a stage, in my opinion.
yeah, the past two shows have been big dance shows. I think when I was a teenager, I like realized that that's where I like needed to grow the most. So I definitely like I took privates and I like really tried to apply myself, but it was probably not what came the easiest to me.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's paid off.
When I was really young, I went into ballet class like as a tiny child, and my mom said that I just played in the corner and did my own dances, and I guess wouldn't listen to the teacher, so she was like, "Okay, you don't need to do that." So I stopped taking dance. Like I took ballet, and I would not pay attention. I was so like when I was like 3, you know. So then she was like, "Okay, well maybe this isn't your thing." So I stopped, and then yeah, I kind of came back to it later in high school and middle school.
You said I'm gonna create my own dances.
Exactly. It sounded like me. I don't remember that, but it sounds like me.
I want solos.
Yes. Right.
Yes. So speaking of like shows you've been in, I want to talk about the Waitress tour because
Mhm.
that was your national tour debut. And
Yes.
you were in the ensemble and an understudy for Dawn, which
Yes.
also those improv classes must have paid off too to
I hope
understudy a
so.
role like Dawn because like that's peak comedy there. What was your
Mhm.
audition process like?
Actually, my audition process was very unconventional because we were one of the first, I feel like one of the first like groups of tours to go out post COVID. So I was in college at the time. It was my sophomore year of college when I started auditioning. And I just got an email out of nowhere for like a video audition, and I sent in a video, and then they were like, okay, tape more. So I sent in a ton more tapes. I taped for a lot of different things too, and a ton of different songs and roles. And I sent in a ton of stuff. And then I had, I think, 2 Zoom callbacks, and that was it. So I never got to go in person for
That's
that audition process, I think. It was yeah, very different. And I was like thinking, I was like, there's no way they're gonna cast me off of this. But yeah, I did live Zoom callbacks and worked with the director and the associates, and like they gave me notes and we worked back and forth. And then I think about a month or two later, right at the end of my sophomore year of college, I heard that I booked it. And then I left for tour in the fall.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so exciting too in your
Yeah.
sophomore year of college
I
because you're
was, yeah, beyond beside myself. I couldn't believe what was happening. It happened pretty quickly too. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? But it was incredible.
yeah, it's like a pinch me moment. It's like, wait, well, I'm in college right now studying for this, and now I
Absolutely.
get a real life experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a very big pinch me moment. I couldn't really believe it. And yeah, I was fortunate enough. The associate choreographer at the time for Waitress was one of my directors for a summer stock I did freshman year. So she knew who I was prior, which was really great. I think yeah, and a few of us like from that group got to send in tapes initially. So yeah, yeah, it was
That's
great.
so fun.
I was really in shock at the time, and I was doing summer stock at my college that summer too. So I got to have like one more summer with all of my friends before I left, which was really great.
Yeah, and you got to bring theater back to
Yeah.
audience to live theater, which is like a huge bonus.
It was, yeah, it was at the time like I hadn't really done very much in person, and it was very, we were rehearsing in masks and things, and it was very like we were just kind of navigating how that would all work, but it all worked out, and I felt honored to get to bring this, especially that show, to around to audiences around the country. It was really special.
Yes. So I want to ask, how do you go about it? You've done this in multiple shows now. How do you
Mhm.
go about learning both your track and the ensemble and the role you're understudying in shows? So like Dawn and Waitress, and
Mhm.
for the Prom, Alyssa and Emma, and
Mhm.
for Back to the Future right now, Jennifer.
Yeah, I honestly, everyone has a very different process of how they learn and how they notate and things. And like, it took me a second to kind of find what worked for me. The most important thing is just homework. Like, the homework never ends, it never stops. Like, you're always learning. I had a kind of different experiences understudying in every show. When I first joined Waitress, a lot of the cast had previously been with the tour. So some of us were learning as we were going, other people were just reminding themselves. So I was honestly learning how I learned, if that makes sense, like how I liked to understudy. And because at times you'll be in one room learning your ensemble part, and the principal that you're understudying will be in the other room learning their part, and you can't be there at that time. So, have to go catch up. Or if, you ask someone for a video or something to notate off of. I like to put all of my things down, write them down like with paper and pencil, and transfer it later when I get home, write it down in a way that like I understand on index cards and things like that. But yeah, everyone has a very different process of learning. And I think just what's the most helpful thing is just to trust what works for you and be able to figure that out. But yeah.
Yes, and it's a process, like your first time in on a national tour doing that as a job.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
you get to learn for future national tours through
absolutely. Yes.
Broadway productions.
Yeah, yeah. I think now I discovered I love covering. I love understudying. It's exciting to me. Like, I love to have my track and have like a opportunity to go on for other things, and know that like, okay, I've gone home, I've done my homework, I'm ready whenever that needs to happen. So I've loved that process of it. But
Yes.
yeah.
So how do you Dawn is such a like fun, quirky character.
Mhm.
How did you go about making that character your own?
I honestly, I think Dawn can also be kind of interpreted by every person a little different. We had
Yes.
like names for our Dawns on tour. When like someone else would go on, they would be like blank Dawn or something Dawn. And like I kind of had, I think, a very like sweet, innocent, quirky type of perspective on her. I think also there were parts of me that related to her completely, and also parts that did not, like were so different, and I like loved leaning into the parts that were different as well as the parts that were like me, and bringing myself to those. um and yeah, I think I just the directors were incredible, and like helped us let us into where like our dawns would be, or our characters would be. And yeah, I think I just kind of found it by adding a bit of myself and leaning into the parts that weren't. And it was my dream role before anything. Like I am obsessed with that show. I always will be. And I absolutely am obsessed with Dawn. I was, when I was in school, we do this thing where we pick dream roles and do, like we study them for our song study class. And Dawn was my character I was supposed to do the year after. And then
Oh
I was like, oh my gosh, I get the chance to bring her to life. Yeah, I absolutely love doing that role. It was so
Oh
much.
my gosh, you manifested it.
Yeah, yeah, it was a dream role. I couldn't really believe
You were
it.
like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna play this role. I'm gonna like write it down, write my goals down, and it's gonna happen. And you did it.
Yes, love to manifest.
Oh my goodness. So before I get into the problem, I'm gonna ask, what did you learn through being on tour with Waitress that helped you prepare for your next tour, which was the prom?
hmm Um, that's a great question. I learned so much. I feel like I grew so much as a person. I learned a lot of what being on tour is like in general and how to sustain and how to keep, you have to really take care of yourself and take care of your mental health and know what it's like to be traveling all the time. There's not very many constants around you. So you have to kind of create your own and see like what makes you comfortable in different places and make time to explore while also, dedicating time to what you're there to do. So I think I really, really learned what tour life was like, which helped prepare me because when I joined the prom, the cast was already 6 months in. So they had already been doing the show for 6 months. And um, one of my friends, Alexa, and I joined together, and we both kind of just like shot out of a cannon and learned it I think we learned the whole show in 13 hours. So I think the fact that I had already been on tour and I wasn't learning the verbiage and learning how life was supposed to be at that time really helped me. Along with, learning how to understudy and learning how to do 8 shows a week. Like that is its own skill.
Oh,
And so I felt very lucky that I was like, okay, I have this experience under my belt and I'm able to like focus on learning these dances because that was very new to me as well. Because Waitress is not a super dance heavy show. So and the prom is, which was so much fun. So I think I got to bring a lot of what I learned about myself to the next show. Yeah.
oh my gosh, the choreography in the prom is so much fun.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I absolutely love it.
When I first saw it on Broadway, I was like, this is amazing. Like they went all out for this choreography.
Yeah, it's so high energy. It's so much fun. I love it.
And I remember when you and Alexa joined, I think
Mhm.
at the same time. I interviewed Alexa back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think she also mentioned you.
Oh yeah, she's
So
my bestie for life. We met at auditions and have been best friends ever since. So,
both been killing it too. So
oh, thank you. That's so kind.
so you had an extra role in the prom to add to the to like the two tracks, two roles from Waitress. So you were Shelby in the prom, and then you understudied Alyssa and Emma.
hmm
So how I want to ask, how do you prepare for a dance audition for
Mm.
like the prom, first of all?
For dance audition, I I actually, funny enough, I had a very interesting audition story for this one as well. I auditioned for Mean Girls initially. So I taped for Mean Girls and then I went into an in-person callback. That's where I met Alexa. And we did dance. We were dancing all day dancing, singing back and forth. Um, and then it kind of transitioned into they were looking for people for the prom, but the dancing is very similar. It's all
Yeah.
kiki. So I think the best that both of those shows, but the prom in particular is just super athletic and you wear sneakers, you're jumping. I love it. And I think it's very personalized. It has a lot of personality in all of the dancing. And so I think that was kind of what I tried to do and like remember is like everyone has their own style and their own vibe and like what they portray when they're dancing. And I think the prom has a lot of obviously the steps are very particular, but there's a lot of room for personality because we're playing teenagers and we're having fun. So I think I just tried to focus on that and having fun while you're dancing and kind of creating the world around you. Um, and there was a lot of, yeah, like we had like 8 counts before our number even started. There was space to create the space and create the world, and yeah, just have fun. It's such upbeat, fun times. Yeah.
What was your favorite dance number to learn in that show and why?
Oh my gosh, they were all so fun. That's a good one. I think the first prom, like, they're in the, we make all these jokes because in the prom there's like 3 proms, but
There
the
are.
first prom, we do like a thing called girls charge, and we charge downstage, and there's like a wedge of people. It's kind of like a big, the music, like the lights are flashing, the music's building. It's a big audience fun moment. I think that might have been my favorite to learn because we get to like literally strut straight down stage. All the girls are like having a great time. It's like right before the big tumbling passes. I think that was my favorite number to learn, but they are all so much fun. I love that show.
Oh my gosh, they're such spectacles
Yes, it's a
on
big spectacle.
meeting
It's such a great time.
sets and everything.
Yeah.
And I saw, uh, am I wrong? You made your Alyssa debut in your home in LA?
Yes, I think that might have been the first time I did it. I think so. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
I
I
did.
think I saw on Instagram that you made your Alyssa debut in LA.
Yes, yes.
So, what was it like getting to bring yourself to the character of Alyssa? And how do you think you made her your own?
Um, well, first of all, yeah, debuting in my hometown was so special and so incredible. And yeah, I felt so lucky. I relate to Alyssa in a lot of ways. I think the whole perfectionist side and pressure on yourself, like I was very much so her in so many ways. So I think it was easy to bring myself to the role, um and yeah, and I had such great scene partners and people to work with and work off of. And yeah, I think it was not the biggest stretch in terms of um tone and where she sat. Um and yeah, it was so much fun.
Did it help? Because, like, you were, I feel like, pretty close to the age of Alyssa and Emma in the show.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
plus,
I was in college. Oh, sorry. I
did it
think.
help you?
Yeah, I think, I was in college, and obviously college and high school are separate, but you still deal with a lot of the same, like you're in class, you're under pressure, you're finding yourself. And so a lot of that, I think it was easy to reach my high school self, was not that too far off, which was great. But yeah, I think anyone could relate to the feelings that they were going through at whatever stage of life. So yeah.
Yes, I have. Well, one of my like little notes is that I think the prom connected with so many people because the characters that were written are like so real.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's why it became so loved. It should have stayed open for so much longer, but things happen.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
in real life, would you consider yourself more of an Alyssa or an Emma?
I think, I have parts of me that can relate to both. I think probably it's a little easier to relate to Alyssa, and like kind of what I said, the perfectionist part of me is very similar to her. So yeah, maybe Alyssa, but they both have qualities I think that I could relate to.
Yes. I wish they had done instead of, I mean, I like the movie, but I wish they had done like a taping, a pro shot of the show.
I think that would have been really cool too. I love the movie as well. I think a live taping would be so cool for that show.
That'd be amazing. Show off
Mhm.
all the dancers on stage, like all the lights,
Yeah,
everything.
that would be awesome.
So fun. Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
So you're currently in LA for the national tour of Back to the Future,
Mhm.
where you're in the ensemble and understudying Jennifer. And speaking of dancing, like also insane dancing. And plus, the costumes in every scene are just like to die for. I feel
I'm
like.
obsessed. I'm obsessed with the costumes,
Oh
literally,
my
and the
gosh.
wigs. Obsessed.
Well, what made you want to audition for Back to the Future? Are you a fan of the movies?
Yeah, so I've always loved the movies since I was a kid. I mean, the original one I've seen like a million times, you know. I don't think I knew to see myself in it until I got to audition and I got to read Jennifer's character description and just like what the show was all about and how it was going to be turned into a musical. And once I got the breakdown for that, I was like, oh, this is like so me. It fits me. It's so upbeat and fun. And so I think once I saw the breakdown and got to see what it was all about, I really like could see myself in it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and I mean, and it has a cult following too, which is so cool. So the energy in the room, just
Yes.
I'm sure night after night. It
Yeah, it's so cool to be a part of a franchise like this that has so many people that are just absolutely love it already. So it's the support in the room is always so great and it's really awesome. Yeah.
yes. Speaking of costumes, which I mentioned, do you have a favorite costume in the show, and what scene is that costume in?
I love all the costumes. They're all incredible. I actually think my favorite, I play Betty, is my ensemble character. So there's two best friends, we're Betty and Babs, and we're like Lorraine's school girlfriends. And I have two Betty 50s costumes, and the second one I wear for only one scene, but I just love it. It's like a little plaid blue and green skirt and a white button down and a pink belt, and I wear it truly for one scene. I walk on, we do one little scene, and then we go off. It's like my favorite Betty costume. I love it. It's so cute.
You're like, I'm gonna take this home with me. Home
Yes,
and
I
stay.
love all the costumes. I'm obsessed with them all, truly.
Oh my, I mean, they add to the show too, and it really makes you feel like you're stepping in to the time period.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the costumes and the wigs just enhance everything. They're so beautifully done.
Yes, the wigs too. Absolutely. Shout out to those. So the effects in Back to the Future are also highly talked about
Mhm.
everywhere, from like I feel like when it first opened on West End to Broadway to now, like the tour, what they're able to do traveling is
Mhm.
insane. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Honestly, me neither. It's
Like,
unbelievable.
what was it like going from rehearsal processes to witnessing those effects come to life on stage in front of your eyes?
Well, when we started rehearsals, or really throughout rehearsals, we were in a studio space, right? So we couldn't actually have any of the effects. We kind of like did our best to simulate them best we can, the turntable and things. Um, but then we got to go see the show on Broadway. We all got tickets from the company. We all went together for like one of the weeks. And I was just in shock. It is the special effects are so cool. I just couldn't believe I get to be a part of something that is that visually spectacular. So yeah, and then once we got to our theater and we got to be in tech and kind of see what we were going to be doing out across the country, it's so cool. It's so special. I just am so happy I get to be a part of it. But yeah, it's awesome to see.
Agree, agree. They really do a great job at combining like the movie into a stage format.
Mhm.
And like, if that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and bringing you a movie and a musical, like a stage show at the same time, kind of visually.
Yes. Yeah, I think we have Bob Gale who created Back to the Future basically also works with us so closely and lots of other people involved with the film. And I think they did such an amazing job of keeping that film intact and bringing so much to it with the musical stage adaptation. And the people that are super fans of Back to the Future still
Yes.
get their Back to the Future and we still bring so many other things to it. So yeah, I think they do such a great job of combining those, like you said.
Oh my gosh. No, absolutely. So LA opening night had an exciting thing happen with a bunch of cast members and like crew members from the original movies
Mhm.
come. What was what was that experience like for you?
It was just so I can't even think of the word. It was so crazy to see how many, just how many people this franchise has touched, and how like the meeting the film cast and producers and etc., everyone involved with it. It was so cool to see how much this movie has done, and meet all of them there. Everyone was so kind, and it was just so special that they even came out to the show. And yeah, I think that's also just what's so cool about touring, is you get to go to places like LA and meet so many cool people. It was really, really special.
Oh my gosh, that was just so iconic to see a video of like the cast on stage, the show cast on stage with the movie cast. I'm
I
like,
know.
my
Yeah. Cast
God.
meeting the cast. We were all in shock. It was so
Did you
cool.
all did you all know that they
Yes.
were?
We
Okay.
knew lots of people were coming, and they gave us kind of a rundown before, but still, either way, just being with them, it was so cool. That opening night was so awesome. Yeah, the audience was incredible. It was so cool.
Something you like count down to.
Yes.
You're like, wait, it's happening tonight.
Exactly. Exactly.
How would you convince people to come see Back to the Future on tour?
Honestly, I think you will just have the best time if you come. We are having so much fun. The entire show is just a fun, fun time. You will laugh, you will see a flying car, it's just, I think the entire show is just from top to bottom, like such a fun and positive experience. I think it's just so much fun. I have not I my family comes all the time since I'm in my hometown, and yeah, it's so great. I saw it so many times on Broadway before I joined the tour. I love it. I love the show.
Yes. So I want to ask, what is your current dream role? Is it more like comedy roles? Would you want to do a serious role? I've heard comedy is so challenging to tackle. So
Hmm.
I'm always impressed when people are able to do that.
Hmm. Um, Gosh, my dream roles. I guess I've always wanted to do Anna in Frozen. I love that show. So much fun. She's
My
also a
favorite.
comedy type of girl, but I feel like she is so me. So I love that. I would love to get to do something like that. Or more serious things. I would love to do something new, like a new work or a workshop or musical, or just, something that hasn't been done before. I think would be so cool. But yeah, I think that's been one of my dream roles for a while.
Oh my God, I kid you not. I'm the biggest Frozen fan.
No way. Yeah,
So
underneath mine.
I don't know if you saw the merch from like the tour, but I have like the blue jacket, the
Oh
like
my
fur jacket in
gosh.
my room.
So cute. Yeah, I love Frozen. Love it.
Obsessed. I actually worked at Pantages while Frozen was there,
No way. Oh my gosh.
and I would go on my off days just to see the show
I
more.
would be doing the same. I would do the same.
I was so obsessed, but it's like such a happy show.
Yes, absolutely.
It makes you
It's so
happy.
fun.
It spreads joy.
Exactly. Those are my favorite kinds.
Yes. Yes. So before I kind of wrap up, who is someone who you look up to in the theater industry?
Well, I mentioned Patina Miller earlier.
Oh,
I'm obsessed with her. I love her. Audra McDonald, I got the chance to see her live one time, and I was like sobbing basically the whole time. She is just, I saw her she did like a solo concert at my summer stock, and my freshman year. She's just everything and more. Yeah, so many people.
oh my goodness. I feel like Audra is like my exposure to theater kind of because Annie.
Yes, right. She can do everything and anything.
I was watching Annie. I didn't know I was watching an icon when I was watching,
Mhm.
you know? So, how do you work on self-confidence in this industry?
I think I'm still working on it, truly, but as we all are, but I just think the best thing to do is to not compare yourself. Nobody is going to do what you do in exactly the way that you do it ever. So, even times where I have like, been going through it, or do feel like I'm comparing myself, or I'm like, oh, I'm not auditioning enough for this, or I'm not, getting seen, or I'm not staying in this callback, or whatever it may be. It's like a lot of it has to do with comparison. And I think just what's for you can't miss you. It can't. And I like really, really, truly believe that. So I think that's kind of what I go back to anytime I'm struggling with that, is just, you have to stick true to myself. And when something is really for me, it will fit me, and I won't miss it. So I think that's what I try to focus on if I'm ever feeling, struggling with self-confidence and working on it. I'm always working on it, but
Yes. I mean, and everyone has their own timelines. So,
exactly. Yeah,
you, like, you never know when like that dream is going to come true. It's going
right.
to happen at the perfect time.
Right. Yeah. Everyone is on their own journey. And yeah.
Yes. So, where can people follow you on social media to keep up with what you're doing?
I'm on Instagram at Zoe Brooke Reed. That's probably where I post the most. And same with Facebook. I have a Facebook too. But yeah, I think I put probably the most stuff on Instagram. And I have a website, also zoebrookereed.com. But yeah.
And I'll post everything in the description in the lower thirds. And do you have anything else that you'd like to promote, or do you just want to tell people to come see Back to the Future on tour?
Just come see Back to the Future. That's basically it. Come see Back to the Future on tour. Um, yeah, I think. Oh, also it's Broadway Equity Fights AIDS time in the Broadway community, and we're doing donations to that organization right now. We're doing red buckets after the show, and you can donate online as well.
And I'll put the links for that in the description as well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Of
Thank you.
course, of course. I'm so honored to have you on. You've been literally killing it. And I feel like
Yeah.
you've been like on my list to have on for a while.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that you asked me. I'm happy to be here. So thank you.
Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day
You as
and
well.
a fantastic time at Pantages.
Thank you. You as well. So nice to meet you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.